Like starting out, there weren't that many food trucks that I could reach out to, I didn't think, or that I didn't know any. I knew like 2, and I didn't reach out to any of them. I wish I would have that luxury to do that.
I mean, nothing can prepare you for, 100+ degrees on a truck, cooking over a stove or whatever. And,
You're just hearing the generator dip, and then go back up and dip again. You're just like, please just stay on for me. Please stay on. Yeah. If you're gonna start a food truck, have a clear plan. Survey the area, make sure you're unique, find what's gonna stick out for you. So it seems like you were always locked in on waffles, and you said you did burgers because they were easy. Was there any other ideas before that?
Not really for me. I mean, the waffles were really kind of the catalyst to starting it all. We went to Pittsburgh and tried our first yeast risen dough waffle, and it was really, really good. But my wife was actually like, man, if you could just stuff everything inside this waffle and walk around, that would be great. It'd be super portable. And so I was like, oh, that'd be a really cool idea.
We were pretty much burgers from day one too, or I was in the early conceptual days. I worked at a burger place through high school and college, so I feel like I had the ins and outs of what it took to run that food category.
So we were always ice cream because that's what it was from the get-go, and it has a lot less prep than you guys. It's actually really funny. My mom was at the beach and she saw someone driving an ice cream truck down the road, and he was just very grumpy looking teenager. And she was like, how can you drive an ice cream truck and not be happy? And she just that really made an impression on her on how that would be so fun, because who doesn't love ice cream? And they just thought it was going to be something small that obviously took off and is where we are today.
So I had taken out 2 business loans for my truck. Both times it needed a business plan and then obviously some collateral, which is usually the truck and the equipment. It was very difficult to write a business plan for my initial loan, because you don't they ask you what are your expected sales?
That's probably a
your clientele
document.
It is, because when I went for my second loan, he looked at my documents for the first one with a different loan officer. He's like, I'm surprised they gave you a loan. I would recommend know your banker. I think that goes a long way to getting funding.
We bought a pre-established truck, so we had to do the rewrap, and so we got a bank loan right off the jump. It pretty much was a second mortgage payment. It was a significant amount, but knowing the banker was convenient. Once we kind of learned the business, we didn't really operate in the winter months, so the guy let us go interest only for those months and then continued the other way.
I went through some fundraising, so I did a Kickstarter, but didn't quite hit the amount that we needed, so we didn't get any of it. So then I went and did a plum fund and was able to raise some money through that. And then I had some help from family members, just little bits here and there. And then I did ultimately end up getting a smaller business loan than the one I'd initially applied for. And it definitely ended up costing a lot more than we expected.
The question of what do you need starting out? You need money and then add 50%. Licenses.
Don't even get me started.
Where do you start though? I don't know. People
It's-
ask me that
it's
now, and I'm
changed
like,
so
I don't
much.
even know. Call the Department of Ag.
So you have the government side of things. It's just the paperwork, the EIN, LLC, so proprietor, figuring out what works for you. And then you have the food part of it, because there's licenses for health and certification and making sure that's all good. And then you have the mechanics, the building actually of the truck or trailer or whatever it is. Those have to be according to code. And then another step is what we were just talking about, the venues, being able to even just attend an event. There's a lot of paperwork, and sometimes that can bog you down, but you gotta kind of keep in focus of why are you doing this to begin with? What's your motivator when those times hit?
If I could do it again, I probably would start from scratch and build it how it was for me, because you're kind of always fighting how they had it set up for themselves.
We've had 3 different trucks. So the first one was it was a teeny tiny little one, already set up with this little chest freezer. It did the job. And then we got a second one to go along with that. And it had lots of shelving and stuff, so we reused a lot of it. And now we have a third one, but that one we just completely gutted it and also used Matt Tech to just kind of fine tune and build it exactly, because we learned a lot over 15, 16 years.
We got our first truck, it was empty, it had been actually sitting for 2 years, so we got a good deal on it, but it had a good engine with not a lot of miles, but also a lot of which later we learned, it seemed like a good deal at the time, but eventually wish probably would have got something a little bit newer.
When starting the truck, if you can, splurge on the actual engine, like the truck itself. You're putting $50,000 or $60,000 into a $5,000 truck. And then I'm putting $60,000 of equipment into it on a truck that flip a coin if it's gonna start every morning.
I will say the one thing is great about the food truck industry is that my experience is that the other owners, you know, always going and networking, talking to them, that goes a long way.
That competition used to bug me more in my early days. Like when there was only like a handful of us out in Lancaster, I'd always like every off season scour like Facebook and like, who are the new trucks coming out? But like as you mature and get older, I think there's value in that community. I literally ran out of propane one day, and the funnel cake guy lent me his propane tank, and it was like 4th of July, like top 2 or 3 days of the year, and it was 10 a.m. and I had no propane. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then I went over there with my tail between my legs and asked him, and he said yes, and we've been friends ever since.
It's a really nice community. Generally, you know, food truck owners are happy to help each other.
Like, everyone rises. If you rise, everyone rises, and it's better than trying to push people down, in my opinion.